it is what it is, what it ends do not apply. We're back again on the Kasi Talks, and I'm joined by Tumelo Mokoane and Ubabu Paul Njabulo Vilakazi. Our topic today is around Africans colonizing other nations, because for so many years, Africans in different parts of the world have been the ones that were made to be subjects of other races. We can make an example in Durban right now, of what I know in Durban right now. Black people, Zulus, they are always complaining that Indians are really oppressing them. You go to nations that are currently trading with China, and the likes of Ghana, Tanzania, they will tell you that the Chinese people are oppressing them, and Chinese people are getting government deals by force. I've watched another documentary on Al Jazeera where a Chinese guy is running an illegal mine on the sides, right? That Chinese guy is not being closed down by the government. And then just by the rural areas, there's a black guy who's running an illegal mine. But that guy is not closed down by the government, you see. And it turns out that the Chinese guy has connections with the king, has connection with the members of the government, and so on and so forth. So I will open it up for you, Paul, to really start this thing. How can Africans colonize other nations where they live together?
Yes, you must help me to develop the mechanisms of doing it also.
Right.
I'm not this clever old man. For instance, you said now, Mandela said it's me who was thinking about Mandela.
Yeah.
You said the Indians, they have always been overpowering the economy of Natal and others. But Mandela rebuked this right of Sarafina guy,
Ngema.
very, very strongly when he touched the Indians, because it's all about economy and also the friendships of the alliances
and politics.
So I belong to Mandela era. I was shocked when he brought it up because I was hardly going to bring it up, and I'm not bringing it up.
Right.
I don't want to. I don't want to. Yes, it's factual. But let me leave that one of the Indians out, because it has been going on in this country. It's not only the Indians who have colonized us. Every other nation who have come here. The Dutch, the
Portuguese.
Yes, they came and colonized us, and they did it. Some of them with a lot of smartness. That included, mechanisms like religion and so on. Now, it's not only to colonize people. You don't always be like an emperor like Shaka. It's not always about war. I see my friend has got a Boer war there, something like that. And I'm just imagining how many wars did the Boers win against black people. You understand what I mean? Despite their guns and so on. But they still continue to colonize us because of smartness of mind.
Right.
It's not always about power and so on. I was reading about Hannibal, the Carthaginian, who conquered Greece, Poland, and others. So he was an African, but this kind of Africans who are next to Libya there and stuff like that. But what I'm trying to say is that I'm not advocating that kind of system of colonizing others. I'm saying I'm actually against this thing of the outdated, Pan-Africanism. It's long past itself by date. It's very academic, and it is wasting our time. It is shoved down our throats so that we stop thinking African unity, Pan-Africanism. It belonged to the era of Du Bois and others, Kwame Nkrumah. May their souls rest in peace. We cannot be babysitting ideas like Pan-Africanism. And when you have such a strategic country like South Africa, South Africa is very strategic for the whole of the continent and the colonization of other people. Look, Nigerians were not known by anybody until they landed here. They are colonizing Hillbrow, and people are saying by crime. I'm saying no, not only by crime. They are allowed to be criminals in this country. They are allowed. Otherwise, if this country was smart enough, it would be using them in other directions. It is due to the lack of smartness of our country.
I don't know, man. Tumelo, do you even agree that we should not strive for cooperation with other nations? We should colonize other nations. Do you agree with this motion that Paul?
Before he
putting
agrees,
across?
you are still putting power. We should colonize other nations. I'm saying colonize.
But you still opt for colonize.
Yes, colonize. If you see, there's this thing called African diaspora and all. For me, those things are just becoming rubbish. If you are in Japan, you don't forget who the people of the African diaspora. The only famous diaspora is the Jewish diaspora. Other people are not using that term, diaspora. We are so married to diaspora. Just be a people, colonize, come together and colonize the area in which you are. England has got a colony in New York. Few people know about that. Because they're smart. They have a colony in England. So why don't you have colonies all over? The Boers have colonized us because of smartness. They used very little gunpowder, but brain power. Their skills, agriculture, and so on. They came into lands that were not occupied by even the natives. The natives had to follow them there because of their agricultural skills and so on. Terra Lekota, your uncle, talks nonsense. He talks bull. He says they conquered us in wars. Which wars can you enumerate? Do you understand what I mean? They never conquered us in wars. They conquered us by smartness. That's why even the Julius themselves, the Julius Malema, they're not learning to be smart. They're hoping to conquer. They say they're hoping to conquer people. They're hoping to Pan-Africanism. What is this thing called Pan-Africanism? I'm a South African. You understand? But before I say I'm a South African, I want to move further.
Okay.
I'm about to expunge out of my lexicon or whatever you call it, the word African, the word Alkebulen, the word South Africa. For instance, this continent was never called anything else. Others came and called it, and that was the beginning of colonizing. They call it African.
I think you're having a field day, man. I would want to hear what Tumelo is saying on this issue. Of however subtle it may be. But what do you think, Tumelo, on African colonizing? And here is a man who stands to rubbish Pan-Africanism. Boldly so. He's saying it's an old idea. Yeah.
Thanks for having me, brother.
Thank you, man, for coming through.
No, look, first of all, it is true that we've been colonized for over 500 years.
Yeah, so.
It's a fact. And you come to South Africa from the 1400s when the Portuguese came in, took our people slavery, we call it the Portuguese slave trade and so forth. So it tells you that there is a historical trend whereby black people have been subjected to inhuman type of systems.
Yeah.
However, we equally need to acknowledge the fact that Africans made the world.
Okay.
You can never dispute that. You see, you have a black person in China, you have a black person in Canada, you've got a black person in France, you've got a black person in Italy. You name it, we made the world. The economy of the world belongs to Africans.
Okay.
Because we made that.
Sure.
You understand? I may be captured incorrectly, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Because I'm an African. I need to speak proudly of my Africanism. So now, look, when the reason why they enslaved black people, it wasn't just for the fun of it, but for some odd reason, they understood the power of a black man.
Right.
You understand? Let's speak about Black Friday, the slave trade. You see, when they were selling black slaves then, they would look at your body structure, your height,
physical
the
prowess.
texture of your
Yeah, yeah,
skin,
yeah,
your teeth, and so forth. And now, if there is an older one, they would say, no, you'll get this one at a lesser price.
Okay.
You see, you get Banetsi, he's strong at this price, you'll
Sure,
get
sure.
the Paul at discount. So that's Black Friday.
Okay.
Buy one, get one free. But however, the objective it was there. They realized that Europeans, they can't handle the climate. They can't stand that heat for the longest time. With us, our skin is so different. It responds to the energy. When it's too hot, we get a bit darker. We've got that sun ray that protects. It's something that not any other nation has. That is why you've got, that's why you have black people who can produce an albino of a different skin texture. That's why you've got black people who can produce a lighter black person who could be mistaken for a white person. Just like an albino, but different. We've got a different DNA compared to all these species. So we are gods and goddesses of the universe. Whether they like it or not, we are the fathers. When they look at us, they say father. When they look at us, they say mother.
Sure.
So now, I want to get to Papa Paul's point. So, we don't have to colonize. We have to reclaim.
Yes.
We need to reclaim. We are gods. We are gods. No, we have to reclaim what is ours. You see, the gold, the diamonds, the Egyptian crafts that were stolen from us and exhibited in Europe.
And the mental prowess thereof.
You see,
yes, we just need to reclaim
the pyramids, the designs, and so forth. They come and say they've discovered Kemet. How can you discover something that is in existence? How can you come and say that you have made Africans to be civilized? By the way, Africans were civilized long before Caucasians came. You see,
True.
They had their own civilization. They were not civilized. They had their own.
We nourished our hair with milk and honey. We wore silk. We had the greatest architectural structures. Even today, they can't even understand how are those pyramids designed. You see, the level of intellect. You see, they came and changed Kemet into Egypt. What's Egypt? Who's Egypt? You see, who said that the first Egyptian so-called god was white? Why do they have straight hair? You see, all the signs. Look at the Native Americans and us. You can see there is a linkage. You see, so now we don't decolonize. It's time that we go and reclaim what is ours globally.
Because you did say that we are there in India, we are there in most parts of the world.
Everywhere.
So already we have made in ways. Just what we need to do is wake up. We're not.
Can I
You can come. You can come in. We left you 3 minutes for the first segment.
Okay, I want to reorientate you into my kind of thinking. You see, when you talk of reclamation, everybody else and every other professor has talked about renaissance, reclamation, and so on. Those are dead concepts. They have reached their sell-by date. You must think about colonizing and not reclaiming. Don't. If you are reclaiming, you sound like a crybaby. You understand what I mean? Bring my pacifier. Oh, please bring my pacifier. You understand what I mean? You want to be babysat all the time. You must move from that. The Afrikaner, when they came here, they didn't ask anybody to babysit them. They came here and they did what they did. Africans must begin to be smarter, sharpen their skills to take over.
But what Tumelo is saying is saying.
I hear him. But like I'm saying, Nigerians come to Johannesburg. They don't say, they don't actually are vocalizing that this is Africa is all. They do it very subtly.
Yeah, well,
but they are colonizing, and I love that way of colonizing, because when I'm in New York, New Yorkers are crying about Nigerians. It's right in America. How Nigerians are colonizing America as well. So that takes an amount of smartness to colonize other people. And don't be afraid of this word colonizing others, because it has become taboo, people colonized us. It's time you can even refashion it in other ways. For instance, for starters, this continent...
We're out of time for the first segment. We'll come back with the second one.